What's cracking, everybody? Florges here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about my top 5 teams for the Master Premier Cup coming this week to Pokemon Go Battle League. And there's Maggie being adorable, watching TV from the bed. All right. She's just being super cute, all right? Yeah, I know. You're weird. Anyway, we're talking about 5 teams here that I think are going to be super strong in the Master Premier Cup. We're going to start with this one here. We've got Florges, which has recently been in the Valentine's Day-ish event, and hopefully you're able to grab enough XL to build yourself a good Florges for Master League, and we're backing it up with a Snorlax Safe Swap and Excadrill in the back as your closer. Snorlax is going to be the thing that's going to bait out, hopefully, a fighter or whatever doesn't want to see Florges. And one thing you should note, if you're playing Snorlax in the Master Premier or Master League in general, you're going to want a normal Hundo to be best buddied in order to deal with the Gyarados. It gets a break point against Gyarados. Or if you just have a Shadow, doesn't need the best buddy because the Shadow Boost gets that break point. But that'll help you navigate the Gyarados matchups so that it's going to be a little bit easier for your Snorlax if you end up having to counter swap one in. Anyway, this team is extremely strong. Florges is one of the strongest things I've ever seen in the Master League. Really, this team gets core broken a bit more, I guess, on paper by Ursaluna, but like these things that core break this team are a little bit more neutral in nature. So like you've got something like Ursaluna or Snorlax, right, or Magnezone. Those are all things that with some finesse can be played around, especially Magnezone's not going to stay in against Snorlax Safe Swap if it has the lead against Florges. So Rhyperior also apparently beats this team, but anyway, but that's really it. Like, this team, just on paper, super strong, is ABB in nature without being ABB by typings. I feel like this team is really strong. Basically take Excadrill, the king of the Master League Premier Cup, put the best safe swap in this team, and then also have Florges, which is probably one of the top Pokemon in the entire Master Premier Cup in general. So looking at a really strong team here. And then we're going to look at this next team, which is a very similar one in composition. We're still looking at a fairy, but instead we've got double fighting in the back line. Togekiss able to handle most of the things that would come in against a fighter, right? Gyarados. Maybe other Florges will come in here, so you could hopefully chip the Florges down and charm down with Togekiss, but essentially you're just looking to use Conkeldurr as your safe swap. Okay, Tarzan, all right, I get it. You want to come over here? Goofball. You're looking to use Conkeldurr with Stone Edge as the safe swap, and then also use Machamp to sweep. It's just ABB fighting. It's not super, in depth here, but you do have things like Florges one-on-one kind of beats this whole team, but it has to be a team effort. And then of course we have things down here like you've got the Togekiss or the fairies, ABB by nature, just core broken here a bit by Metagross one-on-one. But again, Metagross really, I don't think in the 2 shields, I think Metagross actually loses those matchups. So you can flip switch if you need to against a Metagross with the fighters, I believe. But again, this isn't exactly, this is just another one of those teams that, like, has a strong concept to it, but depends on the meta that you're seeing, really is what it's going to come down to. So very simple in its execution, though. You're basically safe swapping Conkeldurr to get Machamp freed up for sweeps is really what it comes down to. So team number 3 here is a team that I love personally because I ran it for a few seasons myself. If you had gotten the XL candy from raiding and or catching Axew over the course of the last year or so from GoFest onwards, hopefully you maybe have enough. I know I don't. I'm going to have to wait for Com Day or something to get that many Axew XLs. But Metagross in the lead with Garchomp running Dragon Tail, double ground charge moves in the back, and then Haxorus is your core breaker because it does very nicely against things like Metagross and Excadrill and things of that sort. So essentially what we've got here is you're leading your Metagross and you're trying to bait out the fairy with the Garchomp and hoping that Haxorus can sweep in the back. That's really the gist of the team. Garchomp itself can core break the team, but if you're very smart here with your Garchomp, the safe swap Garchomp is just an absolute destructive monster that can 2-shield through almost everything that's not a fairy. So highly recommend this one if you're looking to have some fun with Double Dragon. I love this team to bits, and it's very, very strong. But there's also, if you're looking into this team, I know that it's slightly different in XL versus level 40, but you can find a video on my channel. I also played it on stream for a little bit for my 1K partner stream. So just check out my channel. You can find it down in the history if you want a quick snippet on how to play this team. But overall, very strong team, especially when you consider just how many things that Garchomp can take out in the 2 shields with Sand Tomb, Dragon Tail by itself. It's disgusting. So next team we've got up here is going to be Gyarados with, again, we've got Snorlax on the safe swap, and then we've got Magnezone in the back. Now, I like Magnezone because this team actually has 3 things on it that technically beat Metagross, right? So even though Gyarados is running the Dragon Breath, it still does fairly well against Metagross here. And you know, Ursaluna kind of just comes in as the core breaker here. Like, it actually does really well against this team. You'd have to really finesse that game in that matchup. Chestnut is also here and beats this team, which is, I mean, if there are people with Master League Chestnuts, I guess, be careful. But, I mean, you have to take a superpower on either of the 2 Pokemon in the back, and I know that, you know, Gyarados takes a Frenzy Plant and probably doesn't enjoy it too much, but for the most part, though, I mean, I'm thinking of things that, you know, people aren't going to have as much access to, and, I mean, Calm Day Pokemon are probably going to be very popular ones, but also things that have been featured in events recently. Snorlax is just something that people have probably been working on for a while by now. If you've got one, you've got one. If you're like me and you don't quite have one yet, you don't quite have one yet. I'll probably have to take the week off because I don't have anything built for this accursed league. What are you looking at me like I've offended your brother and sister? What are you talking about? Oh, you're being a goofball. Now go on. Go watch your bear in the big blue house. Looking at me like I've offended her or something, you goofball. So yeah, this is basically another pseudo ABB team where you're using Snorlax to lure out a potential fighter or thing that doesn't want to see Gyarados, and then you're using Magnezone to sweep. Pretty simple concept. I mean, the teams themselves are kind of, you know, really in by nature simple. You could run Waterfall and Gyarados if you wanted to. That might make this a little bit more consistent against things like Excadrill, but it probably won't help your Chestnut matchup very much. But anyway, let's talk about the last team, which is probably my favorite of the 5, which I don't know about you, but I've been itching to bust out a Mamoswine this season. I didn't have the chance to in Classic, so I also don't have an XL Heracross, so this is not exactly a super accessible team because of the Heracross, but I like the Heracross Ice Core. You could definitely throw Walrein in the back instead of Ursaluna if you want to, but I like Ursaluna here as the safe swap because it's just so strong against so many things, can threaten so many things between Thunder Punch and high horsepower, and Mamoswine just, it's so strong, and high horsepower being an actually good move now allows these ground types to actually have some coverage. And then you've got Heracross with Rock Blast to deal with anything that has like a Dragonite, or able to deal with opposing ice types. Also has the fighting typing to deal with the steels. It's just, it's a very cohesive team. I like this one a lot, and the ratings, I mean, are really nice. It gets almost, you know, it almost gets straight A's, just except for consistency, it gets to B. But core breakers include Gyarados. That's a bit of a rough one. But again, like, you can threaten it with both Mamoswine and with Ursaluna, and then you can have a Rock Blast for the Gyarados. Dragonite's also a core breaker, but again, I don't know if you've seen it, but Ursaluna can tank a superpower pretty nicely, and it can do some damage. With Tackle adding up and Thunder Punch, it does some damage, so typically the Dragonite leads will want to swap out anyway to preserve that. They'll probably go for superpower and dip at that point. Florges is another one that's a rough. Mamoswine would essentially basically need to have shields or an energy advantage to take that matchup, but other than that, for the most part, you do pretty well against everything else that's not Primarina, which is already kind of rough. You might see Primarina. I'm almost, my Lucky's almost got 300 XL from hatching them alone, so yeah, you're gonna see, you know, Gallade is really the strongest thing against this team, and then you get core broken by Dragonite, Florges, Gyarados, Roserade, Primarina, Sneasler, Charizard. You're not going to see a whole lot of those in my opinion. So team looks very cohesive and very strong. So this is one that I would recommend if you can use it. I don't really know what I would sub out for Heracross though if I had the option to. Like I said, I have nothing built for Master League at all. I just, as an Ultra League Factions player, I can never get the dust together for it. So woe is me. But in any case, those are going to be my top 5 teams for the Ultra Premier Cup, and I know that there's probably many, many more, and there's there's probably a million teams you could run. These are the ones that I threw together on PvPoke that made sense to me based off of the things that I might expect to see in the meta. So, you know, you're going to see a lot of Community Day Pokemon, like, you know, probably going to see some Walrein in there. You're going to see Florges in there because it was recently featured in the event. Probably going to see a lot of Mamoswine because Swinub's been all over the wild. Ursaluna's been in the wild, or been in the Community Day. Yeah, just there's tons of stuff. You'll probably see all kinds of things. So just be ready. It's the Master League Premier is basically an RPS meta by, you know, its own inherent design. So just pick the team that makes the most sense for the meta that you're seeing, and pray that you can hit the alignment and win the jackpot. So hopefully these teams will help you guys out. Let me know in the comments how your Master League Premier Cup is going. And again, if you're looking to get access to these videos and teams earlier than they hit YouTube, because this hit the day of, and I've had this video up in my Discord for like 5 days now. So if you're looking to get early access to this stuff, or any teams in general before they go on YouTube, or I mean just even access to, you just ping me and ask me a question in my Discord and I'll answer you. And if that's not the price, worth the price of admission, then I mean, I guess I don't know. But anyway, so down in the description I've got a link to my Patreon. You can get access to my Discord and all the other things that come with it, lots of perks and wonderful things that come with that. And if you're looking to get coaching, take your gameplay to the next level, hit that next rank, or just improve overall, you can find me on Metafy, and that link is also in the description. So with that being said, I am going to go and try and find out what is going on with this child. You guys have a great one, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.